7:17 with the Morning Majority. Brian Neiman, Mary Catherine Hammond, Brian Wilson.
Let me get that number one more time to you if you want to make the donation to the Fisher House. 202-686-7771. Make your call now. Help out. All right, on the line is our good friend BRET BAIER from your Fox News channel. And BRET BAIER, look, you were making quite the bit of news this week in your interview with Mitt Romney. And I just want to go back there for a moment because that was, by the way, I think one of the best interviews I've seen of a political candidate in some time. You asked some great questions. You had your facts and your ducks in a row and information at hand, and you really sort of, made him answer the questions. And that's, of course, what a good journalist does. So congratulations on that. But tell the story about how he wasn't very happy at the end of the day with the interview.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Good morning. Well, it's surprising, the reaction to the interview, not only from the campaign and from Governor Romney, but I think, we've fielded thousands of emails, people who thought it was good for Romney and he was substantive, and then people who thought it was really bad for Romney, and then people who said that I was overly aggressive, and people who said that I did a great job. So, we have received the gamut.
Well, then you're probably doing something right.
Yeah. Governor Romney was not pleased, and afterwards in the walk and talk, which was on the record, he still had his microphone on, and he knew we were shooting, a walk and talk after you just kind of get a shot of us walking together down the warehouse, and he said, I thought it was overly aggressive, and he was smiling when he said it, and he said, I thought it was all uncalled for. And I said, well, Governor, I'm sorry you felt that way. I think you're going to be asked similar questions along the way here, and if you're the nominee, of course. And then we talked a little bit about Iowa. We parted ways, and I said thank you for the time. And then he went to his holding room, where he had gotten his makeup before. And about, 5 seconds later, he came back out and said, I just want you to know I really didn't like that interview, and I thought it was overly aggressive and uncalled for.
Wow, that's surprising, Brett. I don't think I've ever heard of anything like that ever happening before in a situation like that.
And I wasn't really thrilled that I went down that road when Bill O'Reilly was pressing me about specifics. Yeah. But once it was out there, it was...
Well, do you have any idea why the camp didn't want to do center seat and wanted this one-on-one? And then Mary Catherine was talking about how he hasn't done a Sunday talk show
since he's gotten in the race.
And doing an interview with you one-on-one is the same thing as doing a Sunday chat show as far as I'm concerned. But any reason why they didn't want to do the center seat and were okay with this?
According to the campaign, they didn't like the format. And I didn't, I asked about it. They said they just didn't think it was presidential. Mm-hmm. And... all seven other candidates did center seat. I think it was a good format and a good way to kind of bring in the panel to a lot of the discussion. Meet the Press did it for I think 30 years.
Yeah.
So that was the original take. The campaign, then we eventually went back and forth, and we got to this one-on-one interview. We went there. We flew to Miami. By the way, they chose the warehouse and in between the juice cans because he had an event there with Cuban-American lawmakers who were endorsing him, and we didn't choose that spot. Those were hundreds of other emails that said that we were trying to make him look bad in the middle of the warehouse. So, listen, I hope Governor Romney comes back on the show. My thought was to ask questions that I thought he was going to have to ask and things that he's vulnerable on from both the left and within his own party, and to have the ability to address them head-on in a longer format instead of a 20-second soundbite.
Yeah, makes sense to me. I mean, Barack Obama ain't going to hold back in a debate. So
nor will Newt Gingrich.
Face it. Newt Gingrich, speaking of which, thinks he's probably the nominee at this point. He said so the other day. What say you, BRET BAIER?
Yeah, I noticed last night when he was asked about that on Greta's show, he said it's up to the voters. Mm-hmm. So he kind of dialed back his optimism about it. I do think that there is he's much more than just the surge and fall candidate that we've seen before. It seems, at least at this point, that he has some staying power based on his ability to field questions and his policy ideas. Whether that holds and whether he's peaked too early before the Iowa caucuses, I think is yet to be seen. I mean, we have a couple of debates coming up. December 10th is one, and then we have the last debate before the Iowa caucuses on Fox News Channel, December 15th. And I think those will be two very important moments for this campaign. It's taken a bit of a different turn, and I think you're seeing how close we are to the first voting.
All right. Well, Bret Baier, we always appreciate you coming on, and for my money, great job this week. I thought it was a really fine example of journalism at work.
Thank you very much. Good luck on raising money for the Fisher House.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bret. We appreciate it.